But yeah, all the main characters are kids in this game. Other than some of the antagonists. But most of them only show up. I think one of the antagonists shows up like a couple times. Like maybe 2 times, and then another one shows up a couple more times than that, but there's not a lot of character development in this game. It's just all... These kids are pretty much hinging on a quirky little thing. Like the fat one likes to eat, sort of a thing. So it's just kind of like basic. I'm actually kind of disappointed with the story the more that I'm playing the game. I'm not like really seeing very much happen, so I'm not actually that sad that when I played it the first couple times I just skipped all the scenes. But the gameplay is pretty fun, so it's at least redeemable in that way. Like, all anyone talks to this brown dog that I'm controlling is like, oh, you were born in a factory, huh? Oh, you're good at fixing stuff, huh? Oh, yeah, that's real interesting. The fat one's like, oh, you should be a baker. You love food. That little cat girl, all they talk about is her knowing magic. But then I don't think she ever uses magic in the game, really. And then this is the mommy doing the sweeping. And the twins are kind of just like the same person, but one's a boy and one's a girl. Oh, okay. Ran out of AP. You wanna eat Pringles, huh? Once you pop, you can't stop. Oh. Yeah, I know. I thought that was a really odd mechanic. Like, the tank could have some, like, compartment that comes out and scoops up the item or something, but that's not how they chose to do it. Or, like, one of the kids could get out and grab the items, but... Nope, we're just gonna run them over and somehow we collect them. Kind of a bizarre way to go. I know. And somehow you just absorb them into the tank. I think it's meant to have like a sense of whimsy and like charm because all the kids are kids. But like the story never really gets into how all these kids know how to operate all these weapons on this ancient tank that they found. And like, how are they fueling it? Where are they getting their rounds of ammunition? Like, that stuff is mostly not talked about. I think the big, like, plot point hinge is that you can sacrifice one of the kids for a super powerful attack, and that the first time through the game the bosses are super hard. So it kind of wants you to like feel sorry for these kids, I think. So when you're too busy feeling sorry for them, like you're not thinking about like the why of the universe that they're in, essentially. furries. They're in the fur dimension, so that's normal for them, I guess. I don't know, it's kind of funny, like one of my friends had an ex-boyfriend from like years ago, and I guess this person became like a furry and like cheated on him. So now he just like hates furries with a passion, and I'm just like, I don't know, it's just kind of amusing to see how upset he gets whenever anyone brings him up. I don't think many of them are. There's a lot of furries in Brazil, huh? Yeah, a lot of people are just trolls too. That is for sure. Well, it's an expensive hobby. Like, yeah, most of those costumes are custom made, and they're not cheap. But not everyone who identifies as a furry wants or necessarily cares about fursuits or whatever. A lot of people just like to smack their pud to the art and stuff. Wappa says, "This feels amazing." Taking up the spot with the best view on the Tyrannus, Wappa gazed at the horizon with a satisfied look. "So, you've got something to report to your leader?" Sheena says, "The wind feels delightful." Wappa says, "Speak louder, I can't hear you. Anyway, you guys in this tank are super duper interesting. I love it." Amused and without bothering to answer properly, Wappa watched as the landscape unfolded before her eyes. I don't know. With cosplayers, like, it's the same thing. It's an expensive hobby unless you learn some sewing skills. But some people make a career out of it on social media. I cannot fathom doing that myself, but... Oh, didgeridoggos. Nice. I didn't even know there was such a thing. I have always wanted to go to Japan. It seems like a very culturally interesting place. But, I don't know, I have heard that it's a very ethnocentric society and they're not too kind to certain kinds of people. Like, I know they don't like people with tattoos because it's like reminiscent of people who join the Yakuza, so you're like viewed as kind of like a criminal. It's kind of intriguing. Yeah, like, I remember a while ago in my abnormal psychology class, they talked about how the culture is different, so like, using Western psychology on people of Eastern origins is oftentimes a recipe for failure, because things that we might consider like social avoidance here are like just how they act there. Like, they don't like a lot of eye contact and things like that, so it's kind of interesting that mental health kind of has a varying level of approaches based on kind of like the psychology and culture of the people. You know, if you come here and you didn't do a lot of like research on the norms and stuff, it might kind of like throw you off depending on where you're from. Yeah, that's kind of interesting, like, just cultural norms in general. Like, I think it's important if you go to different cultures that you study up on it a little bit so that you don't do things that are offensive. Oh, puppies, what are you doing? Yeah, there's a lot of people that are touchy here and a lot of people that aren't. Like, I feel like with the US, it's very hit or miss. Hi, little Kumo. Have you come to breathe on me? Yes, you have. What are you doing? Leave Daddy alone. Daddy's streaming. He likes to like crawl up on my chair, and I'm like, ugh. He thinks he's still a lap dog, and I'm like, you can't fit in my lap, buddy. But sometimes Cosmo like crawls up in my lap, and then I think he gets jealous because he's like, well, why don't you do that for me, Daddy? And I'm like, you are a lot larger, sweetie. But he no speak of the English, so it's hard to explain things. Let's see about these link events. Okay. Yeah, Malt goes first. He's done. Hannah's done. Kyle is done. Boron needs to talk to Wappa. Yeah, so I just need to switch to Wappa and do hers, I think. So let's switch. Well, I didn't have him when he was like little, because the other people had him for like, I think 8 or 9 months. Oh yeah, who does she... Alright, who's her worst one? It's that chick person. Kumo, chill out. They were being so good yesterday when we were watching Stranger Things, but now he's being a little punk. I think he likes to show off. Like, he's like, look, Dad, I'm so effective at keeping you safe. And I'm like, from Cosmo, though, he's so tiny and sweet. Like, be nice to him. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing, you naughty boy? Kumo, I'm sorry that I can't give you 24/7 attention. That's why we got you a baby brother to play with. I don't know, like, when I was in Big Brother, Big Sister, there was this kid that had what's known as an attachment disorder, and he came from kind of like an abusive situation with his family. So I kind of view, like, Kumo that way. He just, like, now that there's somebody around that's, like, stable, like, he doesn't want to leave me alone for, like, even half a second. But yeah, that's how that kid with the attachment disorder was. When I had him, he was just very, like, super clingy. But, I mean, it makes sense, because, like, a lot of the people in his life came and went, you know, and I don't know, it was kind of sad, because we had to, like, drop him off at home when, like, his parents wouldn't come and pick him up, and there was almost never anyone at his house. Like, it was bizarre. And, like, you can only know so much. Anyway, as they approached the village, Wappa mentioned it seemed to be occupied by the Burman. Look, Burman people. So they're in the village Wappa talked about. Alright, let's get them, guys. Not so fast, Squirts. You'll just get hurt if you rush in. Is that the reported Gasco's secret weapon? No way! Gasco could never build something like that. Halt! State your identity. Wappa says, I came to get my minions, so move it. Alrighty. I don't think I've ever watched any YouTube channels that were like family members. Just doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, I don't tend to like a lot of stuff with too much drama. Like, I don't get, like, drama-seeking people or It just doesn't do anything for me. I'm like, it seems a little over the top. Yeah, like, there was a really bad story when I worked for Child Protective Services. They had, like, a child since the child was a baby, and they, like, gave the kid up for no reason, like, when they turned 12. And because that was the only family that this kid ever knew, we were wanting to put them with a member of that family, because the whole point of CPS is to keep families intact. But, like, no uncles or aunts or brothers or sisters or, like, kids of these people wanted to take this kid, and, like, nobody would really explain why. So, I mean, like, we just have to take this kid who grew up in, like, a stable, loving home for 12 years and then, like, dump them back into a foster care or into a group home. So it's just really, really shitty. Like, anyway, the Berman soldier says, "Arg, Gasco's secret weapon, such power." Wappa says, "What'd I tell ya? Anyway, hand over my minions." Alrighty. The narrator says, although the Berman in the village were dealt with, there was no trace of its inhabitants. The children concluded that the villagers must have been taken to the same place as their families. Sock says, "I have no idea why they would gather everyone to a single location." Sheena says, "I hope they're alright." Malt says, "They took them somewhere for a reason, so I'm sure they're fine." "I know it." Wappa says, "Alrighty then, everyone, follow me, we'll save them all." With little to go on, the children set off once more. Yeah, interrupting an autistic person's routine is definitely the definition of shitty. Special Gasco invasion forces at Berman HQ. How extraordinary, you steel devil. In the end, it looks like a god will be necessary to extinguish a devil, says Hax. As spoken of in the legend of the lost god. Haha. But, I mean, I get it, like, 18 years is a long time to commit to something. And even then, like, you know, if this kid wants to go to college, blah, blah, blah. And people change, you know, psychologically, drastically, or every 7 years or so. So, like, the choices you make today, while might not be the choice you would have made in the future when you become a slightly different or completely different person. So, having kids is hard. Like, sometimes mommy and daddy fall out of love, and sometimes, you know, they rely on having those two incomes. The Tyrannus was disrupting the Berman's plans to invade the free lands of Gasco. The Gasco army, unaware of the cause of the disturbance, decided to take advantage of this opportunity to reclaim their occupied territories. General Merlot, the mission to recapture the Northwestern Territory is proceeding as planned. However, there are 2 instances of note. Report. Firstly, the Berman have taken the inhabitants of the towns and villages under their control to an unknown location. Secondly, the gigantic machine that drove back the Berman has yet to be identified. An identified machine? Affirmative. However, given the massive attacks left at the scene, it's thought to be some sort of large-scale tank. I see. Proceed with the investigation. We need to know what it is. Understood. I think it's Gasco army. Amazed at the seemingly foreign ruins that lie before their eyes, the children raise their voices in excitement. Wow, look at those huge things flying. Would you check this place out? Not even I've seen a place like this before. Sheena says, those are the statues of the upside-down wolf. The story says they were made a long time ago. According to legend, the lion tribe that once ruled this region erected them to curse the wolf tribe. To this day, some consider the area sacred with its many sites overflowing with mystical energy. And I don't think they ever talk about him again. It's just like, we're gonna put this shit here for some reason and then never talk about it again. This game does this kind of a lot. What is he doing now? Oh no. Como, come here. Don't do that. Silly boy. Why are you hyperventilating? Did the puppy get you that riled up? You're just a crazy energy dog. You just got all that energies. Yes, you do. What? What? You are too hyper today. Yes, you are. What do you want from Daddy? He just wanted loves, I think. And now it's back to doggy wrestling. Costco, the grocery store of my dreams. I love Costco. Like, I honestly don't think I would ever move anywhere where Costco isn't at this point in my life. I don't usually get anything there other than groceries, but I've heard a lot of people say that the clothes are a really good deal there, because they're oftentimes like overstocked name brand stuff for like what you would pay, like the prices that you would pay at like Walmart, for instance. It's pretty inexpensive. But yeah. Sometimes it is annoying though when I want to try something new there and then like I don't like the thing I tried because everything is in such large portions. But that doesn't happen very often. They have some pretty good quality stuff. And like, since we just bought our new home here and they have a lot of like reasonably priced things, it was pretty cheap to get our house up and running with stuff from there too. We did use a lot of Amazon, though, because we'd forget about something and need it rather quickly, and, you know, you can only go to the store so many times in a day, or if the store is closed, like, it's just easier to get things brought to you sometimes. Big American portions. I wouldn't say this stuff is portioned largely, you just get a lot of it, so like, one of the things I didn't really like was I bought some miso glazed codfish, and I think it comes with like 20 like 6 or 4 ounce portions, and I ate one and I was like, I don't really love this very much. So I've been meaning to like try it with some different sauces and see if like that'll make it tastier, but the portions aren't that big. But it's kind of funny, like, with our dishes that we have, we almost always use the small plates that are probably like, I don't know, 5 inches in diameter. Like, we almost never use the big plates. But I think we both like to eat smaller meals more frequently than eating big meals like 2 or 3 times a day. But yeah, restaurants definitely tend to have very large portions here. But we don't go out to eat very often. I've personally found that if you prepare your own food, you get sick a lot less. Like, minimum wage people making your food, when they get really busy, they take shortcuts. I used to work in a restaurant, so... yeah. And because I have really bad asthma and like I get sick relatively often with like allergies and stuff, it's just better to cook my own stuff. I do get bored of it sometimes, but most of the time I just make my own things. Sock says, "Look, someone's unconscious." Is that... and she trails off. That was Sheena. As the children made their way to the camp, they rescued a boy who had collapsed while taking cover behind a tree. He was the one who had helped Sheena escape, and she was overjoyed to find him safe and sound. That's cool. Sheena says, "Are you alright?" The boy says, "You're that girl. Where am I?" When the children asked who he was, they were shocked with the answer. His name was Brits, a Burman soldier. While some were frightened and others outraged, the children struggled to empathize with the boy. "How can we trust what a Burman says Jin. Ultimately, only Sheena seemed to trust him since he had saved her life, and she begged the others to help him. Sheena says, "I don't believe he is a bad person. Please, can't we help him?" Not fully trusting Brits, the children yielded to Sheena's plea and let him join the crew. Sheena says, "Thanks for helping me escape." Brit says, "I was worried when we got separated. I'm glad you're doing okay now." Sheena says, "They saved me. I hope my mother and sister are still safe." Brit says, "I hate to say this, but if they're still in the camp, there's no guarantee." Sheena says, "We have to hurry." Is that Gasco's secret weapon? Only one tank won't be enough to break through our defenses. They think they can intimidate us with their size. We must intercept them. Jin says, did that jerk alert them to us? Britt says, are you talking about me? Malt says, now is not the time. Hurry up and get ready to fight. Alright, and we are at yet another intermission. The narrator says it was only a matter of time before the Tyrannus broke through the Burman army's defenses and reached the prisoner camp. Upon hearing the report, the commander of the camp, Dr. Blutwurst, went into a blind rage. How did you let that tank get here? This laboratory is worth far more than your puny lives. We're very sorry. Also, Doctor, your mask. Blutwurst hastily put on his mask. Shut up. I'm not like those disgusting Felonico trash. Hurry up and give me your report. Yes, sir, that tank is like a fortress on wheels. It possesses such power. It's penetrated multiple lines in our defense. Blutwurst says you can't let it near this laboratory no matter what. The soldier says, yes, sir. Blutwurst says, I'm surrounded by idiots. Whatever. I'll just have to squeeze out as much energy as possible for General Hax. We'll need much more of this if we are to revive the heart of the lost god. Oof. I am just stretching. I'm wondering if that was my last link. I'll check the sub-menus for that. Yep, that is it. There are no more link events. Good, that's what I was hoping to achieve on this playthrough. So that it didn't feel like I was missing stuff on my speedrun playthrough. I'm at the point where I'm like starting to run out of SP, so I need to put Sheena in my party behind somebody so that our link attacks will increase our SP. Oh, and we get some from that green box, so that's good. And that's our first, well, really it's our second status effect, but it sucks because for the rest of this run, she won't be able to use any of her skills, and her skills are super useful because they can stun everybody with one hit, so... Like, you can cure that status effect at intermission, but it's just like... Ugh. Like, the fear status effect that lowers your accuracy, that cures itself after 3 turns in battle, as long as one of the kids is in either the front seat or the back seat on one of the guns. But that confusion thing never goes away until you talk to the kid during an intermission and make them feel less scared. So now we gotta go find Chick and talk to her until she's not depressed anymore. Okay, here we go. I need strawberries and eggs. The Tyrannus broke through the Burman defenses to reach the front gates of the prison camp. Just then, a Felonico scientist wearing a mask came to stand in their way. Damn you, how dare you interfere with my plans? I'll never hand over this lab or any of my materials to the likes of you. Rit says, You devil, you still intend on continuing your wicked experiments? Blutwurst says, Only General Hax recognizes how magnificent my plans are. Young whelps like you will never understand. The Felanicos possess an abundance of bioenergy called No-No. By extracting this energy, we can create bio-batteries. This energy defies common sense, giving way to future progress. As such, every scientific advancement demands a sacrifice. On the contrary, it's not a sacrifice, it's an honor for them. Blutwurst's words stirred up mixed feelings of anger and concern for their families. That's horrible. How could you? Don't do bad things to Felanicos. You captured us for this? How awful. The radio says, My children, this man is a monster. You must put an end to his plans at all cost. That was a nice lucky crit hit at the end there. Blutwurst says, no, my research, it will all be lost if I die. Anna says, everyone, let's save the prisoners. Chick says, is it safe? Then let's go. Britt says, now we can free them. After destroying the camp's defenses, the children entered the laboratory to free the prisoners. They discovered Felanikos very near death within apparatuses to draw out their bioenergy. Some had already perished when the last drop of their energy was sucked dry. Horrified, the children released the remaining prisoners one by one, hoping not to discover a loved one. Sheena says, Mother, Nilly. Thankfully, Sheena's family had not been drained of their bioenergy yet and was happily reunited with her. Although Sheena's mother was weak and unconscious, her older sister promised that her life was not in any danger. As they continued to free the prisoners, the other children were unable to find their families. The prisoners suggested that if they weren't there, then they must have been taken to work in the volcanic lands of Lhasa Aspo. As the children prepared to bid Sheena farewell, she spoke up. We're comrades until everyone's family is safe. I'm better now, so please let me help you. Holding on to hope, the children set off together for Lhasa Apso. Prism Camp ruins Secret Service several days later. Lieutenant Muscat of the Gasco Army arrived with her garrison at the camp the Tyrannus liberated. While they offered assistance to the survivors, Muscat was puzzled by what she heard. They say children are riding that tank, the one that defeated the Burman army, and one of the kids from here was with them. The children were shocked to learn that the Burman used some of the prisoners as biobatteries, many losing their lives in the process. Feeling selfishly relieved their families were not involved, the children once again set off for the volcanic lands of Lhasa Apso. Hoping against hope, this was the worst of it. May says, Grandma and Grandpa weren't there. Hang in there, says Malt, I'm sure they're waiting for us. Chick says, I wonder how our mom and dad are. Hack says, don't worry, as long as we don't give up, they'll be fine. And it's time for another intermission. Alright, now we gotta go cure other kids that got depressed. I think it was just the one. Oh, it looks like I forgot to heal Malt. I see now. Okay. Lame. The children felt an uneasy wall rising between them when Brits frequently kept to himself. Unsure how to handle the situation, they tried reaching out to him. Hey, what are you up to? Care to chat? Why not try to get along with everyone? Is it your thing to always be on your own? Brit says, I'm Berman. You don't need to force yourself to talk to me. Once I return the favor for saving my life, I'll be on my way. The children wanted to know more about the Burman Empire and kept asking, even though Brits was rather dry with his responses. I don't have many good things to say about it, says Brits. How do I put it? Compared to this country, the Burman Empire has a much stronger military, and honor is everything. Even my mother and sister suffered because of it. I don't even know where they are now. Saying this, Brits took out a pendant with a picture of his family and stared at it pensively. The children couldn't help but sympathize with him. Like them, he had also been separated from his family. Boron says, my paw bun. I left it in the mess room and now it's gone. Jin says, it would have been different if you wrote your name. Someone probably ate it. Brit says, I was in the mess room just now, but I didn't see anything. Boron says, you were in there. I see. Jin says, oh boy. Brit says, seems like I'm suspected. Anyway, I didn't see anything and I wouldn't steal someone else's food. I don't know that you would believe a Burman like me, but you are all free to think what you want. And I don't care anyway. That doesn't seem suspicious at all. Boron says, ah, it's the paw bun I lost. Hannah says, that's great. Boron says, I thought it would be eaten if I left it in the mess room, so I hid it in another place. Sorry about that. Britt says, I see you found it. Remember when I said I didn't care whether you believe me or not? Actually, people were always suspicious around me, even when I was in Berman, so I got used to it. Hannah says, alright, then I suppose everything is settled. Boron says, Britt, and then Britt says, it's okay, I'm fine. I'm gonna go rest a little bit. Amid fleeting hopes, the girl of light once again appeared before them. Why, fight. Fighting will spell your doom. I won't let you die. You mustn't fight. We won't give up until everyone's safe. The children answered with firm conviction. If they gave up now, everything would be in vain. These words were more likely directed more towards themselves than the girl. The child of light says, "Me neither. I won't give up." With that, the figure disappeared without a trace. Alright, time for another intermission. The Burman soldier says it's no use. Retreat. That monster, we cannot stop it. After dispatching the Burman offensive, the children continued ahead. Malt says, let's go guys, we can't give up now. Kyle says, right, our families aren't gonna save themselves. Jin says, let's push through. The radio says, you've grown strong, my children. No one stands a chance against you. I'm sure of it. The Gasco Invasion Forces HQ. Flam says, General Hax, please forgive me. If you give me another chance, I will destroy them. Hax says, do you really think you can defeat them? Flam says, yes, I swear it. Hax says, your foster father, General Pretzel, showed pride in his country by putting his life on the line to protect it. Do you have the same resolve? Flam says, yes, of course. Hax says, splendid. I'll be waiting to hear the good news. There's no need for you to report anything else. Flam says, yes, sir. Glory to the Burman Empire. Hax says, she tries hard, but will she really be able to defeat that devil? It seems my time to enter the fray is approaching. We've gathered enough bio-batteries to revive the heart, all thanks to you, Doctor. At last, the preparations to awaken the lost god, Vanergand, are set. All that's left to do is light the fuse. I've been waiting so long, you steel devil. Ha ha ha. Alright, this is a good place for me to take a little break. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to be stitching these two videos together, so don't worry, it's just going to continue as normal, but I will be back streaming-wise on Twitch in probably like half an hour or so. I need to eat and walk the dogs and feed them and all that stuff, so we will see you soon.